Qështu mas leti e gjej magimin. Jam të dashtë me nis një punë me krejt gratë e krushës.
Qysh do në me këshirën si idealin tëm kur të kthehet?
Nëse kthehet. Jetu po ëndra shumë. Nështë ta o mire dhe tim janë nismi mësu do sene.
Apo menoni që mundet me ecë puna mirë që shtu?
Na ajvar kena marru të njëtën. Që të punë di me kry mas mire.
Se më i skallzove, që është qa që i hjeshëm?
Shumë i bre.
Kur do të pushoj ma kjo ka.
Krejt petin që pe gra kerrit. Që po punon sheher.
Dërsh, fare, dërsh!
100 herë të kom thonë, që ka do që të bëj shti, e rokë krejt familjen.
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Where are you?
I'm in New York after 10 years that I haven't been here.
Really?
I'm in New York. Yeah.
Is that right? You're back in New York after 10-year break?
Yeah. I've studied here
Right,
for 4 years, and when I went back, I didn't come for another 10 years, and it's been. Yesterday, I was just like very emotional, like a little kid. I didn't realize that I missed it so much.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Did you find that? Do you have a sense that of a change at all? Or I mean, obviously, New York is dealing with this global crisis in its own way. But did you notice anything different about the city? Do you think?
Well, it's mostly more quiet, to be honest. It felt a little bit much more quiet than it used to be. I only walked for an hour last night because we came here yesterday, and then I was very tired, but I couldn't sleep without having a walk around the school and the places. And Washington Square Park, where I spent so much time. But everything, I mean, it looked a little bit more quieter than I remember it, but otherwise, no, it looks pretty much the same.
Right. Well, maybe if you get out during the daytime, you'll find it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll see. I mean, everybody's saying that New York is not the way it used to be, but
well, every generation says that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they say. Were you living in Kosovo most of the last 10 years, or?
Yes, I was living in Kosovo the whole time, even before coming here, and then after in Pristina.
Well, it's your movie is called Hive. Obviously, it was an enormous success at Sundance, where it won. I mean, I think it broke a record for in the category of world cinema. Right, most awarded film ever.
Yes.
Is that true? I'm pretending like I don't know what I'm talking about. Of course.
Yes, well, we didn't know either. So we didn't realize. It's not that I checked what like how many awards each film got. We were just really excited to hear award after an award that the film was getting. Because of course, for me, it was really important to go to Sundance. For some reason, I really wanted to go there. And then when the film got accepted, we were really excited about it. And then like our producers, there's some of them were saying, yeah, we will get awards. And I was like, come on, we were like, let's be happy with being submitted and let's see what happens. And then when we got 3 awards, it was really, really rewarding and an honor and amazing. And then when we saw one of the articles, it said that it made history into the most awarded film in this category. I was like, oh my God, that's even better, because we did make history in Kosovo for being submitted and getting the awards, but then at the beginning I didn't realize that it was actually breaking records at Sundance as well, and that was really, really amazing.
Well, congratulations. I don't mean to put all the emphasis on awards. I mean, they're very helpful, obviously, but the film is it was the subject of what we're here to talk about. So please stop talking about your awards.
You started.
I threw you under the bus. That's the expression of the day. Well, here's the thing. So this is what I think of Hive as kind of about an accidental feminist. Meaning, this is a woman, right? Fahrije?
Yes, Fahrije.
Fahrije?
Fahrije. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm pretty good with usually, but I don't mean to butcher her name. But anyway, so she's just her aim is to survive, right? She's there's an absentee father or husband, right? He's a disappeared person essentially, and he's so she's there to take care of her family as best she knows how, and she's a mother, but to me it's like, so she, out of necessity, she seeks out the other. We don't want to call them widows, because really we're not sure if they're all widows. We know that their husbands are missing, but there's no evidence yet. And although the movie takes place during the process where finally this is being dealt with, and there is a team, it's a subplot in the film. The main point, though, right, is that she's trying to survive the only way she knows how, and she gets together with, in order to do this, she needs to work with other like women, and they find themselves in a way a political group by accident. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I think so. But for me, that's really what fascinated me even more, because you see this fighter who, Fahrije did not go to university. She did not study for business or for human rights or anything. She would just happen to be, as you said, a mother and a woman left in a situation where she had to take things in her hands, and she did it. And besides doing that, she brought these women together to do the same, and it was not easy. It was, in film we see 84 minutes film, and things have to happen in that amount of time, but she really had to struggle. She had really a lot of struggle with the women, convince them, to calm them, because it was a post-traumatic village for men and women and for everybody. It was right after the war.
That's a good point.
It was, so I was impressed. Yeah, even for men, I don't think we can just, of course it's a patriarchal society. It's still a patriarchal society all around Kosovo.
Almost as though we're frozen in time.
Yeah, exactly. But then all the rage and many things, I think, became even harsher, because after I remember I live in the capital, in the more less things, but after the war it was this excitement of freedom, and it was a real chaos, and then trauma and everything. So I think everything was mixed up, so it was really hard to deal with yourself, but also with people. And she had two children which were small, and then dealing with the women who were really sad and resisting to join her, and then the society who were really criticizing them. So really for me that was like even better, that she was not this activist who was always an activist and then wanted to do some political change. She did it out of the city, but the way she did it, the way she gathered these women, the to make them happy, for me is kind of like priceless, and it's like more than anyone else could do for them, because there are always organizations who are trying to help, and a lot of organizations did help them, and then we try to do campaigns and for awareness campaigns and things like that. But I think Fahrije did it all on her own, and yes, it was out of necessity, but I think the way she managed and just what vision she had, I thought it was really, and the strength, to be honest. I mean, I asked her, did you cry? I was just really curious. I was like, did you cry? Because she was so strong in front of me, and I'm like, did you cry? Like, how was it for you? I have 2 kids. It's so hard to raise kids, even though I have a husband, and I'm not I didn't lose anyone, so nobody criticizes me for anything I'm doing. Still, it's hard. And then I was like, did you cry? I mean, how could you handle all this? She was like, yes, I cried. I cried every morning, but then I wiped my tears and went to work. And I was like, yes, I mean, of course you cried, because it's hard, but then you stood up and did it. So that's really, really amazing.
Well, it shows the film Hive, it shows Farije's process of trying to get this product that the women of the village have, these, we'll call them widows because just for shorthand, but they're in this sort of impossible, ambiguous space where they don't know if their husbands are dead or not, but they're all, so they can't quite grieve, and yet of course they struggle, but they pull together and they find through this community so much more, than just the fact that they're going to make this food for the local and distributor and supermarket, and but they also find a sisterhood and company and comfort in together, which is a beautiful part of the film. But you brought up this thing, and I hadn't considered the PTSD of the men as well in the village, because they are, as you said, part of this patriarchal system. And if you extend yourself, you could say they're victims in a way too. However, your sympathy is with the women. But now that you mention it, Blerta, I think, they also lost brothers and fathers, and they're also stuck. And I hadn't even thought of it in those terms. Yeah, I mean, many don't, because of course the story is focused, and of course nobody had the right to do that and prejudice the women for what they were doing. And having said that, they were probably they would have been prejudiced even if there was no war. But then I think it was so harsh because the men were also stuck, and it's always this thing about honoring those who are gone, and are you honoring them enough in a way? And especially when it has to do with women, then it's even worse. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know my phone can ring. It's okay. So it was even harsher for like women. You're a widow. I mean, they're not widows, as you're saying, because they still don't know if their husbands are dead, but pretty much they are in a way treating them as widows, and they are expecting them to mourn and to not smile, let's say, or continue their lives. And which is something that it's amazing, because Fahrije was really trying to, as she was saying, trying to stay sane for her children. She was like, if we would just sit down and cry and wait for someone to help us always, which she was like was not going to happen was not going to last forever. She was like, we would have gone crazy. So when we go crazy, who would take care of our children, in a way? When you come down to the basic nature of the film, it's about just it's a character study as well. It's just this woman and this pivotal moment in her life, and what is she, when you're faced with choices, what do you end up doing, and to find out how she comes to make her choices is a beautiful part of the film. It's hard to imagine this is your first feature film. Congratulations. Thank you. I don't mean to continue to politicize the film, because it's really not a political film, but it does. Again, I say it's almost accidental or incidental to the story, that it's, but when you come back to New York City and to the United States, maybe more generally, after 10 years, and then you find out what's going on here in our number of the states in this in our country, and that we've also seemed to be turning back the clock. Women in a number of states are almost impossible, have find it almost impossible to get now abortions or make their own medical choices when it comes to themselves. What do you think of that? If I can put you on the spot.
Well, I wasn't really informed about that, but
surprise.
You know, when people people are telling me, is it really like? Usually do get a question about, is it really still like that? And did you grow up like that? Was somebody really so harsh on you while you were growing up in Kosovo? And then I'm sometimes trying to make a comparison, even about the Hollywood movements. And I was a couple of months in Poland, and they do women cannot get abortion; it's not allowed. And it's we're talking about a village of Krusha Mala where these things happen, and but then we're dealing with so many other issues all around the world. That is why really thinking of that particular village as something really out of our everyday life. I think we're sometimes ignoring the fact where we all live in, because we do have a lot of issues to deal with, whether that's in New York or in Poland or in Kosovo or anywhere. It can be different kinds of ways, or it doesn't even have to be related to women. I was really hoping that people are going to connect to the character in a more universal level, and not just women, but everybody went through some sort of prejudice or discrimination, or felt small in some ways. So I was really hoping that people really can connect, and that we can really raise a discussion about many injustices done, whether that's for abortion or for people of different color or different sexuality or whatever. I mean, people really go through a lot nowadays in many I think in many levels. So I was really hoping that this film, although it's very specific story for a specific woman in a specific country and village, I really hope that people really gonna connect and
right.
raise discussions and be encouraged, hopefully, in a way, to change things.
Well, I would argue that they are connected, because I'm going to guess there were men on the Audience Award Committee. There were men on the Sundance jury. There are men who programmed the film. So obviously, and then on in other festivals. And
yes.
The distribution of the film here in America, it's a partnership between Kino and Zeitgeist, I know. And so obviously and it's going to be at the Film Forum Friday here in New York City. That's probably one of the reasons you're here. Yes. It's going to be, you're going to be there Friday, the 5th of November?
Yes, I'll be. Friday and Saturday we have Q&A.
Nice. And then very nice. And then you'll move on to LA, I guess, the following week at the Laemmle Royal Theater, November 12th. It's going to be there. Thank you. It was really nice making your acquaintance.
Thank you so much.
And
really
good luck with thank you.
Thank you
very nice.
Okay.
Well, that's a little bit thank you, Sarah. A little bit of weird, wonky connection, but I think it'll be fine.
Okay. Let me know if there's anything we can do to help. I appreciate it.
No, I'm quite sure it's great. It's all great. Thank you. Glad for the opportunity to have seen it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.